Do you want to learn English vocabulary faster? Want to have better listening comprehension and pronunciation and boost your speaking skills quickly? Then welcome to our new video to improve your English skills. In this video, we'll dive into a fun and interactive learning experience designed to improve your English speaking skills. We'll have a 3-part exercise. Part 1, listening practice. Part 2, the vocabulary review. Part 3, listen and answer practice. Now, are you ready to train your brain to speak English fluently? Let's get started. Part 1, listening practice. Throw in the towel. In this part, you'll listen to a short story. Pay close attention to how the events unfold and how the expressions are used in context. Chris was an ambitious marathon runner. For years, he dedicated himself to training with intense focus. His regimen was grueling, but he remained steadfast even when he faced physical injuries. However, after a series of setbacks, one injury after another, Chris started to feel the weight of his struggle. His endurance was being tested far beyond his expectations. The most traumatic blow came when, a week before a crucial race, he suffered a severe muscle strain. Devastated, he considered withdrawing from the event. His coach encouraged him to rest and not make any hasty decisions. Till the persistent pain consumed his thoughts, and the possibility of failure loomed large. Despite his coach's efforts to bolster his confidence, Chris began to doubt his own abilities. Should he continue or throw in the towel? This inner conflict consumed him. Pressure mounted as race day approached, and he knew that confronting this challenge would require every ounce of mental strength he had. On the morning of the race, Chris made a bold decision. Instead of giving in to his fear of failure, he chose to give it one last shot. The race was grueling and each step was painful, but Chris pushed through. Though he didn't win, he crossed the finish line, an accomplishment that meant more than victory itself. He realized that not giving up had redefined his own limits, and in the end, he was glad he didn't throw in the towel. Part 2, the vocabulary review. Now, let's take a moment to go over some of the key vocabulary words and phrases that were used. Understanding these words will help you better grasp the story and improve your English skills.
Throw in the towel. To give up or admit defeat, usually after great effort. Example: Chris almost threw in the towel after his injury, but he decided to keep going. Ambitious. Having a strong desire to succeed or achieve something, often requiring determination. Example: Chris was ambitious, aiming to become one of the best marathon runners. Grueling. Extremely tiring and demanding. Example: Chris followed a grueling training schedule for his marathon preparation. Steadfast. Firm in purpose, resolution, or loyalty, especially in the face of adversity. Example: even through multiple injuries, Chris remained steadfast in his pursuit. Endurance. The ability to withstand hardship or adversity, especially over a long period. Example: the race tested Chris's physical and mental endurance. Traumatic. Emotionally disturbing or distressing. Example: the muscle injury before the race was traumatic for Chris. Consume. To absorb or occupy fully. Example: the persistent pain consumed Chris, making it hard for him to focus. Bolster. To support, strengthen, or reinforce something. Example: his coach tried to bolster Chris's confidence after the injury. Persistent. continuing to exist or endure over a long period of time, especially despite difficulty. Example: the persistent pain in his leg made it hard for Chris to keep training. Gratifying, giving pleasure or satisfaction. Example: crossing the finish line despite the odds was deeply gratifying for Chris. Devastated, extremely upset or destroyed emotionally. Example: Chris was devastated when he realized he might not be able to run the race. Doubt, a feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction. Example: Chris began to doubt his ability to complete the race after his injury. Confront, to face up to or deal with a difficult situation or challenge. Example: Chris had to confront his fear of failure and the intense pressure to quit. Loom, to appear as a shadowy form, especially one that is large or threatening. Example: the possibility of failure loomed large as the race day approached. Reinforce, to strengthen or support, especially with additional material or evidence. Example: the race reinforced Chris's belief in his ability to overcome obstacles.
Part 3. Listen and answer practice. Let's test your understanding of the story with some questions. I'll ask a question and you'll have a few seconds to answer before I reveal the correct response. Try to answer out loud to practice your speaking skills.
What kind of runner was Chris? Chris was an ambitious marathon runner. What caused Chris to doubt whether he should compete in the race? A severe muscle strain made Chris doubt if he should compete. What advice did Chris's coach give him? His coach advised him to rest and avoid making any hasty decisions. Did Chris decide to throw in the towel before the race? No, Chris didn't throw in the towel. He decided to give it one last shot. How did Chris feel about his decision to compete on the day of the race? Chris was determined but still anxious about whether he could finish. What was Chris's mental state as the race day approached? He was consumed by doubt and pressure, but ultimately chose to confront his fears. What was the outcome of the race for Chris? Although he didn't win, Chris finished the race and felt proud of himself. How did the injury affect Chris's training? The injury caused persistent pain and made Chris question his ability to continue training. What does the phrase "throw in the towel" mean? It means to give up or admit defeat after trying hard. Was Chris glad he didn't throw in the towel at the end? Yes, Chris was glad he didn't give up and felt a sense of accomplishment.
Great job today! Keep practicing by watching this video regularly and you'll see your English skills improve. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Keep learning and I'll see you in the next video.